This is WFO Radio.
Hey, everybody. WFO Radio is back on the air. If you're a first-time viewer, welcome to you. You're going to like it. If you like NHRA drag racing, if you like motorsports, if you like hearing from the drivers, you're going to love this show. Justin Ashley will be our guest just seconds away. We are going to hear from Justin as he gets ready for the Virginia Nationals, the first Virginia Nationals in a couple of years. We're going to hear from Justin and talk about his program and all kinds of great stuff that he has got going. We'll have some commentary from you guys out there in the chat section as well. We always love to encourage you to subscribe on YouTube and download our free mobile application. It is going to be great. I want to shout out to the people who make it possible for me to go WFO, doing like multiple interviews. It wasn't that long ago we spoke with Steve Johnson. You know what he told me? He says, I'm super excited to hear from Justin Ashley. So, Steve, if you're out there, thanks for earlier. And, of course, everybody share the shows. Phillips Connect, Justin's sponsor, also on board with WFO Radio. They got some really good things going. It was great to hear Steve talk about it. You're over the road. You've got hundreds of thousands of dollars of equipment or maybe goods that are being brought to purchase. You need to keep track of the safety of your tractors and trailers. And that's where Phillips Connect comes in. Go to phillips-connect.com, whether it be tire pressure monitoring, looking out for fire, all of the vital and important things, whether you're a racer or a race team, or whether you are Amazon or Walmart, you've got to keep track of those trucks going over the road. And that's what Phillips Connect does with Justin Ashley. We've also got Total Seal piston rings on board, totalseal.com. Ring seal, even in nitro cars, by the way. But if you are limited by the rules in Stock Eliminator, or you just want to build a high horsepower street engine, they can help you. Totalseal.com. Got a brand new Hidden Horsepower podcast episode up and available right now. VP Racing Fuels. Folks at VP coming on board with WFO Radio, and you can go right to their website, vpracingfuels.com, sign up for their newsletter to find out more information. But really, lubricants. Camry Caruso goes to the number one qualifying spot. Many reasons, one of which are special oils made for her team by VP Lubricants. Great stuff. Of course, VP Racing Fuels for those of you out there that are racers, but maybe you're just an average Joe and you're looking in the auto parts store to find out which fuel additive is best for you. VP Racing Fuels makes fuel additives. So go check them out, vpracingfuels.com. If you're a big money bracket racer, you know these guys, FTIperformance.com. Transmissions, torque converters, they make their own fluid. They're made in DeLand, Florida. And it's a who's who of the best of the best. Of course, we always mention Troy and Gary Williams because they are from the state of Florida, and they have been flying the flag for FTI Performance for a long time. But if you spend a little time in the pits, you'll realize that the best of the best are using FTI, and you should too. A little bit later on in the show, I'll tell you about samtech.edu, Frank Hawley's drag racing school, and Marvin Rodak brewing that craft roasted coffee down there in Fort Worth, Texas. But now let's bring him on the show, the Justin Ashley. What's up, Justin? How are you?
What's up, Joe? Thanks for having me on. Looking forward to racing this weekend in Virginia.
We haven't been there since 2019. Have you raced there? I don't recall.
So I've actually never raced there in Top Fuel. I raced there in 2018 in Top Alcohol Dragster, a regional event, but never in Top Fuel before.
So this is great. This is kind of like perfect timing to have you on because you're going here for the first time. The track surface is as smooth as glass. One of the smoothest on the tour, if not the smoothest. That's got to get you excited. But what else has got you excited?
Well, so many things, really. I mean, like you said, it's going to be the first time I'm racing there in Top Fuel, which is exciting in and of itself. And no matter where we race, it's an exciting experience. But, you know, I do remember that, Joe, from back in 2018. I think that was when they first redid the surface. And I remember thinking to myself, even in the alcohol car, how smooth that surface actually was. So to me, and kind of looking at the weather forecast, if it does hold up, and I know that we're going to be racing no matter what, it should be really fast out there in Virginia.
Yes, really fast out there in Virginia. And that, you know, we talk about the tracks with character, and this one is not a track with character. I hear the shutdown area still has character, that you go from like super smooth to character. But in the end, that's where Mike Green can step on it, right? Because the surfaces is smooth. If we were to get one of those weekends where we have consistent cloud cover, but no rain. Wow. What's possible?
Yeah, anything's possible. And you mentioned it when you mentioned Mike Green, right? The combination that we have at Crew Chief with Mike Green and Tommy DeLago, what they bring is a championship level of experience and expertise. So anytime I get with my Phillips Connect team, anytime I get in my Phillips Connect Top Fuel Dragster, I have the utmost confidence because of the Davis Motorsports team that we have behind us. Mike Green and Tommy DeLago have raced in Virginia before. They've raced there multiple times. They've raced at every track on the tour. So that kind of gives them the ability to go through and look at their logbook, look at previous data and information that they've had from years past, and hopefully apply it this year. So it's going to be tough. We know how good the Top Fuel field is. The depth of competition is just so fantastic, but we're going to go out there and put our best foot forward, and we're excited to do it.
So let's talk a little bit about, it's been positive. It's been generally positive since you stepped in a Top Fuel car, but it's gotten harder as of late, right? Like now everybody knows you're quick on the starting line. Everybody knows what you're capable of. You started off strong with a win, Phoenix, then went into like a mini slump, right? Let's call it a mini slump, but then back in the final round after some amazing heroics in the pit area out there in Houston. Brittany wins on a hole shot, though. That's got to be, it's part of racing, but it's got to be aggravating. And just kind of tell me where you feel like your team is. Where are you now, other than sitting third in the point standings? That's great, but like this is a team that you just stood up, and you're right in the middle of it all.
Yeah, I feel like we're in a really good position moving forward. And all the things that you mentioned are a part of the ebbs and flows of drag racing. And as a team, we understand that there's going to be ups. There's going to be downs, right? We won the Winter Nationals to start the season, and that was great. It was the first race for Phillips Connect. It was the first true race we had Vita C shot on board for the 2022 season. The first race for Toyota Gazoo Racing North America. I mean, so many firsts, and it was so great to be able to capture that win. Fast forward, maybe we lose in the first round, the second round, the next race or two, follow it up with a runner-up, a number one qualifier. These are all the up and down flows of drag racing. We know that, we understand that, but the truth of the matter is it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. So we feel really good about the position that we're in right now. We're third in the points. We've qualified number one. We have that runner up. We've won a race. And most importantly, we feel like we have a really good handle on this race car. And that's great, but it's a long season. So we have to take it one race at a time from here on out, learn from each run, learn from each race, and apply it moving forward.
So, on that note, parts availability, that's what I'm hearing is the story that is going on behind the scenes. For everybody out there that loves factory stock, we're going to post an interview with Bill Skillman today on our YouTube channel, and you will love it. And, he talks about, like, Bill, where are the Fords at? Parts availability. Like, there are things that we just can't get. Now, I know with you guys, the thing that is the most challenging are clutch discs. And if you have to cycle one out or in right before the countdown, the chances of winning go down a lot. So are you guys, I know it's early, but is it too early to be planning for that stretch at the end of the season so that you don't have to deal with cycling in new discs? Is that possible?
Well, I think it's a great question. And I think that it's never too early, especially with the economy the way it is now in the supply chain that we're looking at, not only in this industry, but really in every industry at this point in time. The way this whole process started was in the off season. We were fortunate in the sense that Dustin Davis, Mike Green, and the team were very proactive. We actually got together with Antron Brown and his team. As you know, we're teammates this year, and we ordered our batches of clutch discs together. And we ordered them in a large quantity to help us get through the beginning portion and as far into the season as we could. Now that we're 6 races into the season, we already have to start thinking about parts and pieces down the road, including clutch discs. But really, when you look at our program as a whole, Mike Green has done a really good job of finding a tune-up window where we can run the car really hard, but not damage very many, if at all, any parts and pieces. So that's also played a big factor in the position that we're in right now and moving forward. But nonetheless, it's something that we have to always keep top of mind, and something that we always have to think about is making sure with the supply chain the way it is that we have enough parts and pieces to compete come the end of the year.
Yeah. And, will things get worse? Will things get better? And I don't know where a lot of these things are sourced. I know the discs themselves are made here, and I know, Bonifante, I don't know if you use Bonifanti, but everybody does for the most part. But like the iron, centered iron. Where's that stuff sourced? Where's it coming from? We've got people, war going on. You've got Ukraine on the front wing of your dragster. I appreciate you making that statement. China is locked down again. There's so many moving elements that one of those could affect competition at some point during the season.
Yeah, they could. I mean, that's just something we're going to have to find out. It definitely could affect competition at some point. And, the truth of the matter is, of course, we know there are no excuses, but all the teams are in the same position where, like you said, the clutch discs for the most part are sourced, at home in Indianapolis, but at other places, they're just not. So it's going to be something that we need to stay on top of, just like every other team out there needs to stay on top of it to make sure that they're able to complete the season and run as hard and as fast as they normally would. So, 2020 was definitely an odd year. 2021, we saw a little bit of a transition, a little bit more to normal this year, but nonetheless, the way the supply chain is, it's something we all got to keep an eye out for.
Improvise, adapt, overcome, like whatever it is that comes at you, you either deal with it or you don't.
That's exactly right. You have to. And it's the same thing when you're out there racing on the racetrack, right? You have to be able to adapt and improvise. I mean, we're up there talking about improvising, right? We're up there making last minute, tire pressure changes, for example, or Mike is down in the box making changes. So really that's what the sport as a whole off the racetrack and on the racetrack is all about.
Yeah. Let's talk about the number one qualifier out there at zMAX. You got a little emotional, which I understand that, but also I was surprised because you had won races already, right? Like it felt like, what's the point of a number one qualifier? That's great and all, but it was the first for your team. It was a big deal and a great run. Just talk a little bit about that moment and being able to, with this team, experience that, being number one qualifier at the end of Saturday.
It was obviously a great experience. And I think that it's safe to say that emotion came from basically reflecting on how far we've come. With Dustin Davis, we've been involved in Top Fuel since the end of 2019, and we've just progressed year to year, and we built this foundation, and we've been able to grow upon this foundation because of the personnel that we have and the team that we have. And I think that it's important. Obviously, it's easy to go along this journey and not stop and reflect and realize how far you've actually come. So come the end of the day, Saturday night, it was important, even though we've won races before, even though, we set a track speed record in Bristol, we've done a number of different things, went to finals, semifinals. To be able to qualify number one was not only just another notch in our belt, but as a team, something that we can lean back on and something that we can really be proud of, something that we can be proud of for Phillips Connect and Toyota and Vitus eShot and all our sponsors, because all of them and the team in general helped us get to the point that we're at today.
Yeah, that was pretty interesting. Now, what's your personal low ET? I was just thinking right now, that might have been it. What is it?
That was it. 366. That was the low ET. Yeah.
And see, like, those are the moments. Like, that's your personal low ET. Everybody who has gone down the drag strip knows that moment is a big deal, whatever it is. Like, your personal best low ET, when you get it, that means a lot, even when it's in a Top Fuel Dragster 366.
Oh, it does. That's what I say, right? Like when you get your low ET, it's one of the best feelings in the world because of that. You're able to go there, and I didn't really know what we ran. So to be able to turn the corner and look at the time slip and actually see that, was such a great feeling. Obviously, the faster you go, the harder it is to keep going your low ET. 366 is a pretty stout run to beat. But I definitely think, come the rest of this year, there'll be more opportunities to run another low ET, not only for me, for Mike Green, for Tommy, but for the whole team.
All right. So I've asked people out there if they have a question, they can put it in the chat section as we get ready to go to Richmond. Ma Nature going to leave us alone, hopefully. But Lauren wants to know, of all the NHRA drivers you've raced against, who would you have wanted to win against in your current Top Fuel career?
I mean, that's tough. I mean, it's a really good question. The easy answer for me, honestly, is Steve Torrence. The reason I say that, he's obviously a Toyota teammate, so you don't want to take out any Toyota teammates, but he's the champ. Right. And if you want to be the best, you have to beat the best. So it kind of brings out the best in you. There's no lucky rounds really anymore. No chip shots when you're going up there to race, whether it's first round or last round. But a guy like Steve Torrence always brings out the best in you because he's got a great team and he's always on his A game no matter what. So he's a guy, he's the champ, 4-time champ in a row. He's the guy that I always feel like I want to win against.
It's funny, just looking at the point standings, the difference from last year to this year, and we've had all the changes that you referenced, a couple of them with like Antron and you, or Antron becoming a team owner, you guys forging a relationship. But just the idea that, Leah and her Tony Stewart team, who are running really well right now, going down the track right now, outside of the top 10. Sean Langdon, 12th, outside of the top 10. Trip Tatum won a race, part-time schedule. He's lurking in 14th. Like, what will he do? Doug Foley. You got guys like Billy Torrence and Spencer Massey, part-timers. Everybody's good is the point. It's like there's no cars that like, those guys aren't really that great. We don't have to worry about them. There's more than 10 cars that at any point could turn on a win line.
So it's the same way every weekend you go up there and it is tough. Like, let's take last weekend, for example, or when we were in Charlotte. We go out there and qualify number one and look at our quad. We have Antron Brown, Austin Prock, and Cam Ferret, who, by the way, had a runner-up finish there. So there are no breaks no matter where you look. You look at the point standings, right? I mean, like you said, some of these guys that are outside the top 10, these guys and girls, you would never think that would even be possible, but it is just because the depth of competition is so good. And we talked about it in the offseason. We figured and we kind of knew that it was going to be this good, but to actually see it come to fruition is just is something special. I think this is far and away the fastest, the quickest, the best top to bottom, top fuel field we've had in the last 10 to 20 years. And I think it's pretty safe for me to say that.
Blake in Wyoming, great guy, loves the show, wants to know, what are you most excited about this race weekend? So I can tell you that I had a great time in Richmond and we haven't been back. And I know those people are probably, hopefully, starved for racing. And we got some cool stuff like Spider-Man McBride is going to have an exhibition match race and all. What's got you excited for this particular event?
Yeah, so a few things really. I mean, like you said, seeing the fans at any track is amazing, but when we haven't been to this facility in a few years, it just makes seeing the fans that much better. The other thing is the track surface. The track surface is just baby smooth. It feels really good going down the racetrack, which means it's going to be great from a driving perspective and from a tuning perspective. And then also something that I'm personally looking forward to and our team is looking forward to is the announcement and the addition of Wykin Foundation as an official partner for the remainder of the 2022 season. I mean, the Wykin Foundation, they help assist injured and wounded veterans, which is something that's near and dear to my heart. They provide a tremendous amount of opportunities for them. And, a large part of what we're going to do together, and it's through Phillips Connect, and I'm very grateful for that relationship, is bring veterans out to the racetrack and give them the kind of experience that they deserve to have. So to have Wykin Foundation on board with us is something that I'm really looking forward to.
Wykin Foundation. That is great. It's funny. I had this ready to go. I was going to ask you about that. What is the at-track activation going to be like? You're going to bring them to the track, to the starting line? How can we help?
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. I mean, I think that we can all help by, supporting our veterans, if you will, right? I mean, this weekend it's going to start by having some of the higher ups of the Wykin Foundation out to the racetrack so we can kind of talk, so they can get an understanding of what NHRA drag racing is all about, so we can really put together a good plan for these veterans. But as we go toward the end of the year, with the help of Phillips Connect, we're going to bring out some of these veterans to the racetrack, and we're going to develop a plan to make sure that they have the best experience. Whether it's through things that you can do on WFO or through things that NHRA as a whole can do, get them up to the starting line, show them around the midway, take them around the racetrack, let them be around the car during the warmups, whatever it takes to give them that good experience. Because, I mean, that's the very least we can do, after all that they've done for ourselves and our country.
Oh, our whole sport is a veteran exercise. It's a post-military exercise. We say it all the time. And when we, hopefully we don't get to see it this weekend, but we got a nice long history of drag racing rain delay piece that goes up on Sunoco Vision and NHRA.tv that talks about veterans coming back from World War II, right? They come back from World War II and they're all, they're not ready to just go back to normal life.
Right.
They want to go fast. They want to have fun. They want to get that adrenaline, and they get involved in a sport that we now know as NHRA drag racing. It is pretty amazing how that our sport is so connected to the veteran experience, and we see them out there. I love what you're doing with that. And I can't wait to see how it all continues to evolve, especially in that part of the country, right? We've got a lot of bases up there. So I hope they show up in force.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, I think it's going to be great. You said it. Our sport is great for, active military members and veterans. You see it throughout. And I've met a ton of people at the racetrack who are either active military or military veterans. Being in Virginia, being with the bases around where we are, this is a really great time to kind of launch this partnership and a great place to do it. Anything that we can do to help support this foundation and other veterans moving forward, we're more than happy to do that and do the very best that we can to help and do our part.
Excellent. Okay. So, the Ukraine thing on the front wing of the car, like we don't get political here on WFO ever, right? It's not, that doesn't matter. It's a politics free zone. You can think what you think. Do you love drag racing? That's great. Let's go. That one though, man, every time I see it, I'm thankful that you're doing it. And some people have said, oh, politics. I don't know if that is politics. I think that's like freedom and safety of people. Have you received any pushback on that?
Very little. I mean, there's always going to be a little bit of pushback, but I mean, I don't want to be involved in anything political. Like you don't either. It's got nothing to do with politics. This is just being a good human and trying to do our very best to help people. And the idea came from Rob Phillips and everybody at Phillips Industries and Phillips Connect to try and raise money to help support the families that are struggling over there. I mean, you see all the struggles that they're going through, and I think back to when I'm upset because we smoked the tires, right?
Yes.
It really puts things in perspective. And the very least that we could do was say, hey, donate at least $100 to the Race for Ukraine. We'll put your name on the front wing of our race car, at these last 2 or 3 races, and we can go from there. And we ended up raising over $30,000 that goes directly to help the people of Ukraine. So it's got nothing to do with politics. It's just got a lot to do with being able to lend a helping hand and doing our small part to help the people that are struggling there. And you see it, and a lot of people see it, how good it is, how positive it is. The overwhelming response has been great. People are really encouraged and motivated by it.
Well, and I agree too. And like you said, right, we get upset about smoking the tires, or I get upset when my internet isn't working at like max speed. Like, why is this taking a long time to load? Like, what's wrong with this? Right. I went to this Formula One race this past weekend, had a great time. And every once in a while, like a little jolt of like, wow, man, I'm so lucky. I mean, am I lucky? Am I blessed? Was I a great person in another life? Like, who knows what people believe? But my goodness, man, I'm just so thankful. And I feel so terrible for people that are having to go through such struggle like that. That doesn't matter. So when you recognize it and give like a little piece of your race car to that cause, I think it is worthwhile. Let's talk about your lights, though. This is what everybody like. This is your rep now. And there are others. There's Austin Prock and there's others. There's maintaining the rep. That's you can get a rep and then you got to maintain that rep. Has that been a challenge? Like, do you feel a little intensity around that thing? Like, oh man, Justin Ashley is now the guy that's got to leave first all the time or else.
Yeah. I mean, you feel it, right? I mean, you feel it, but nobody's going to put more pressure on me than I do myself anyway. So whether it comes from different outlets or whether you see it online, it's a compliment, right? I'd certainly rather be in that position than in a position where it's, this kid's struggling as much as he could possibly struggle. I mean, I've had my struggles. I've certainly been far from perfect, but what a lot of people don't touch on is obviously all the nuances of having good reaction time, whether you can go in deep, whether you can go in shallow, all the things that contribute to it. But how about the fact that it's a team effort? If the car doesn't 60 foot like it does, or if the car doesn't launch a particular way, all those things factor in it. So truly the combination that you have of the way the car runs, the personnel that you have, and the driver all factor into that reaction time right there. So, everybody kind of has their own reputation, certain things that they might do or certain things that they are expected to do on the starting line. But I think the key for any driver really is to go up there and do the same thing every time. And I'm constantly learning, constantly practicing, working to try and get better. It's funny. I was in Antron Brown's trailer because he has a practice tree in there. Last race. So he has a practice tree in his trailer hooked up to a pedal. I do it every race. And, it just shows you how competitive it is because I'm finishing up in there with my helmet and my shoes on to make it as realistic as possible. As I'm walking out, Steve Torrence is walking in, right, to use it. And that's in Antron Brown's trailer. So it's just funny. Everybody is so on top of being competitive, on top of their game because of what we said before. The depth of competition right now in Top Fuel is so significant that there's such little margin for error.
Yeah, no, that's great to hear. I believe that too. And, training, you got to train, nonstop training, like fighter pilots and all of these things. It's all about training and putting yourself in that situation. Justin, any final notes? Like, I want to ask you about Tommy D, right? Tommy DeLago, who I'm a fan of Tommy DeLago. That's the thing about it. It's like, I like the guy's swagger. He's got an attitude. He's sometimes could be a little rough around the edges. And you guys scooped him up. He was part of the, he's on the sidelines, which was kind of ridiculous. But that's what the sport was a few years ago. We had the pandemic, whatever. You guys realized, hey, man, Tommy D, let's get him. How's that working out, integrating into the team? What is, when car goes down the racetrack, what is Tommy D? How has he added to the success of the team? I want to know what he's doing.
Yeah, you see the smile on my face when you mention Tommy D, because he's just such a fun, loving, good-natured guy. We feel really fortunate to have him on our team. We do. And the relationship really started toward the end of last year, the last 2 races. Dustin Davis spoke to Mike Green and said, who's a guy that you might want to work with? And he spoke to Tommy DeLago, and we brought him in for the last 2 races. And obviously he wanted to make sure that we were a good fit for his mindset and his objective, and vice versa too. We wanted to make sure it was a good fit together. And, Tommy's role is he's a crew chief. He's the assistant crew chief, and he works with Mike hand in hand. And he obviously does a great job of communicating with the team. And he brings another level of expertise and another level of championship winning experience. But something about Tommy, he just got a great attitude. He's very positive all the time. He's a smart guy, and he's very aggressive. He's not afraid to go out there, be aggressive, and lay it all on the line to try and go low ET or top speed of the meet. And that's very exciting for us. It's exciting as a team, and we love working closely with Tommy.
Are you a baseball fan?
I am.
Just off the top of my head, who do you think is the greatest baseball player to ever live?
You say Babe Ruth?
Well, it doesn't matter. Tell Tommy D that and see what happens.
Oh, gosh.
This guy, he's a Pete Rose guy.
Is he? I was going to say, should I text him or ask? Well, Pete Rose, obviously.
But anyway, I saw him get so passionate one day about this debate, right? We were talking, and Ruth or Mickey Mantle, no, and he had a whole thing.
Yeah, I always think Babe Ruth, but you can go to number. Nolan Ryan, you can say a number of different things.
No, I think Babe Ruth is the genuinely accepted answer.
The general consensus.
Yeah, the general consensus is Babe Ruth, everyone. Of course, there's, the avant-garde pick. Someone like Pete Rose is a great, definitely a great player. But try asking Tommy D, see what he says. Justin, good luck this weekend. Thanks for coming on the show. Is there anything that I didn't ask you about that you want to say to the fans out there or put out on the table? Do you want to start a vicious rivalry with Brittany Force? We had Steve Johnson on a little bit earlier, and he's stirring the pot. That's not really your thing, but if you wanted to, you can.
No, well, listen, no rivalries for me. I'll tell you though, following up Steve Johnson, is a tough act. I don't care if I'm the person ordering after him at Subway. He's a tough act to follow. But the only thing I'll say is one very quick, small thing is for anybody out there listening, remember, go WFO.
Yeah.
And that's it.
I like that. Way to go. That's nice. Nice. So, well, thank you very much. Appreciate it. And also Phillips Connect being on board with WFO. We want to, help tell the world what's going on. And I appreciate how they are helping you out as well. We're going to get Epler on the show at some point to learn a little bit more about what they're doing. To me, it's a technology industry.
It is.
It's a technology company, which isn't that what we want? We're cool with selling ketchup if that turns out to be the case. But all these, I was at Formula One this past week, and I've said it 50 times. Everyone's annoyed to hear it by now, but those are all technology companies. That's where money is. And they're spending money so people know about data and transferring data and keeping you safe because of data. And that's kind of what you guys are doing. I think it's very current.
Thank you. I think it's super important. And you see a lot of the general theme out there is driver recruitment for these different trucks and these different fleet companies. But a lot of what people don't talk about is not only driver recruitment, but driver retention. And truck drivers want to have healthy trailers that are safe. And a big part of that is what Phillips Connect technology does to be able to monitor their trailers and put truck drivers in a good position. So they are definitely far and away an advanced technology company.
Excellent. No, I agree. And look at all, here come the comments. Ted Williams is the GOAT. And Troy says Cal Ripken, the best ability is availability.
That's right.
Every day. That's right. You got to show up. So, and Chris says that you're a great ambassador for the sport. Positive influence. Love seeing success and potential. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
Appreciate it. And this guy wants to know, what part of New York are you from?
I'm from Long Island, Nassau County in Long Island.
There it is. The island. There you go. There you go. Yeah. You a Yankee fan or a Met fan?
No, I'm a Met fan.
Yeah.
Playing good. The Yankees are playing good too. Playing good ball.
They are. Well, they're both playing good.
They are.
We can have
nice to see.
We could have a Subway series this year. Wouldn't that be
great?
Special? All right, Justin, thank you very much. Safe travels to Richmond. I'll see you out there. Thanks for spending a little time here on WFO.
Thank you, Joe. Appreciate you having me on. Have a good one.
Later. There goes Justin Ashley, everybody, on WFO Radio. Appreciate him coming on the show. Cal Ripken, I listen, no disrespect to Cal. So this is not, I don't want to get into this topic because it's an endless topic. It's an endless topic. You can't say because cross-generational players cannot really be compared to one another. It's just impossible. But it's fun to talk about, especially with Tommy D, if you're going to try to make the argument that it's not Pete Rose. That was funny. I wonder if Tommy remembers that conversation. It was definitely interesting. All right, guys, we're going to shift gears here in a second. Get ready for those of you who are out there ready to comment. For the past couple of weeks, I've been doing this, and I want to do it again. I'm going to ask for your predictions in the Camping World Series categories. Top Fuel, Funny Car, Pro Stock Motorcycle. If you want to throw out Pro Mod, you may. But first, I'm going to tell you about the people who make it possible, like Marvin Rodak, coffeeandgrills.com, 817-924-6821. Call Marvin. Get some coffee. Roasted fresh per your order. I'm telling you, it's a great experience. It's one of those things that you got to do it, and then you'll understand. Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, the dragster adventure where regular people, just like us, who don't have any equipment or helmets or fire jackets, we don't have anything. We just show up and drive dragsters on a day, and they travel around the country with the program. Simple as that. FrankHawley.com. Samtech.edu, the next generation of engine builders, machinists, motorsport EFI tuners, all coming up through Samtech. Give them a call. Call Brian Massengill. Phillips Connect, of course. Justin, I could not do a better job than Justin just did talking about these guys. Total Seal piston rings, of course. New Hidden Horsepower episode available right now, and countless others. You will enjoy it. VPRacingFuels.com and FTIPerformance.com. We got parts, we got coffee, and the sponsor list is growing and growing. But one of the backbones is really the Patreons. These are just regular listeners who want to support what we do. They like what we're doing. They recognize that out there in the universe, you've got Fox Sports, and you've got MRN Radio, and you've got PRN Radio, and you've got these giant multi-million-dollar corporations that are backed by companies that have been around for 40 years. And then you've got WFO Radio and WFO Joe, the ultimate mom and pop store, going up against these big giant mega corporations in the attempt to entertain you guys as drag racing fans. If you want to support the show, definitely go to WFOradio.com, click on Patreon, or patreon.com/WFO Radio, and you get a little behind the scenes commentary. You get some Monday motivation. You get a chance to watch the Ignition Show be recorded, maybe even guest host from time to time. It is kind of a fun deal. And pins, patches, and some swag and some stickers. So check it out, patreon.com. We are having a sale in the WFO store right now. I don't really control that. But those of you who just downloaded the new WFO Radio app, I bought myself this mug. I'm sitting here like, I need a WFO mug. Doesn't it make sense for me to have one? So I went through the brand new WFO Radio app update. I clicked on merch. It's working for me, guys. So we got a problem. Are you on Android? Let's test this deal out. But for the people out there, I think it was Lonnie who says merch store wasn't working. It worked. I paid my mug. We'll see when it shows up. But everything's on sale right now, like X% off. So get yourself a mug. And that's it. We've had a great week of WFO. Headed to Richmond tomorrow. Did a lot of Formula One talk over the past couple of days. Hopefully going to bring some of those ideas out. Let's see what everybody's got to say. Oh, yeah. Say hey. Right, Larry? Say hey. Willie Mays. But what about Mickey Mantle? Right? Like, and the answer is I got to go with what my dad says on that, because I never saw the Mick play. I never saw Willie play. I saw the great Derek Jeter play. I saw that. Bonds is the real GOAT if we're being honest. I don't know about that. I don't want to get into a steroids and baseball conversation, but he definitely would have been. But then he skewed the numbers. The numbers became skewed. And now we're all confused. Like, what's good? What's not good? Like, what's the story? So it is endless. That's for sure. Unless you're talking to Tommy D about Pete Rose. And then it's very... Tuning in late as usual. What's up, Joe? CNVA this weekend. So you say, Jerron. The last couple times you said that, you didn't show. So we'll see. Here come the predictions. This is what I want to hear, right? And if you're watching on YouTube, in the comments section, there's live chat, but there's regular comments. We need more comments on YouTube, guys. The YouTube channel, it's flaring up. It's doing good. But we need more comments on the file, not just in the chat section. Not everybody sees that. Brittany, Height, Angel. A Robert Height win. It's been a minute. Britt, on the other hand, it has not been a minute. And Angel. An Angel victory would be interesting just because Steve Johnson just stirred the pot on our early show today. And who is going to be the first pro stock motorcycle racer that is not Steve Johnson to come on the show since Steve Johnson has turned into this pot stirrer? Would it be Angel? That would be interesting. Milliken, John Force, Karen Stouffer, Lyle Barnett. Man, it would be great to see Lyle. Lyle was so mad after the end of the 4-wide. It was so funny. I was like, yeah, he went over the beat. Well, he's stupid. It's like, yeah, you got to cover those guys like that. If I could go back again, we would have cameras rolling, just roll on the pro mod guys getting out of their cars. And that would have gotten a billion views. Crazy. Awesome. Clay would be a very popular win. John Force going back to back. Oh my goodness. Brittany, Caps, Angie. I enjoy being a small part of being WFO, Patreon. That's a Patreon right there. Angie Smith would be a very popular win. Very popular win. Angie, John Force, Brittany Force, says Blake. Merch link not working on my Android. All right, see, so now we've narrowed it. It's working on my Apple, but it's not working on Android. Maybe the Android platform, there's some sort of an issue with that. I don't mind doing a little A/B testing. Is it only Android people? That would make sense, Android people. They say if Willie didn't have to play in Candlestick, he would have beat Babe Ruth's home run record. Yeah, it's very possible. It's a big field. Big stadiums are different now. Chicks dig the long ball. Every number is different. Everything is different. So it's really hard to compare. Force Johnson. So Steve going again. 3 in a row for Steve. Wow, what would that be like? 3 in a row, like Steve Johnson. Would they shut down the category? Would they cancel the rest of the races? Pro Stock Motorcycle? I don't know if that's going to happen. John DeFlorian, that's right, Mountain Motor Pro Stock is going to be there with the extra $500 up thanks to the folks at Stellar Marine. The Pass for the Cash kickoff starting this weekend with Mountain Motor Pro Stock. John DeFlorian, great guy, by the way. Super nice person. Force, Hagen, Johnson. Says Bass Neckler. Another Brittany Force win would have people, it would change the dynamic, I feel like. Another Brittany Force win would change the dynamic, and that would make her a favorite now. Not that she's not a favorite, but she's like one of a group. Another Brittany Force win, she would be the dominant driver on the season so far on a perch that people would be having to shoot for. I realize Clay is a long shot, but they got to catch the right breaks. Yeah, well, that's what making a dark horse prediction is so worthwhile. I had done a great show last week, right around this time last week, midweek. I had produced a show for the Kentucky Derby. And it was, unfortunately, the file got corrupted, guys. It's really too bad. But in that show, I predicted the 80-1 Rich Strike long shot. Bold prediction, I know, but I nailed it. I nailed the prediction on Rich Strike for the Kentucky Derby on Saturday. Just too bad the file got corrupted because it was a really great prediction. That's not true. For those of you wondering, somebody's like, does Joe sometimes say things that aren't true because it's funny? Yeah, that's one of them. Other than Michael Waltrip, nobody had Rich Strike. Joe, I'm with you almost every week. I'm just on a plane, headed home because you get there. You know what I mean? Yeah, you're the flying airbrush. I'm just having fun with you, Jerron. What is the record for pro stock motorcycle wins in a row? That's a good question. I don't know that, George. We'll get to the bottom of it. So you really think that Steve is shooting for that? What about the extra 10 pounds? What about the broccoli? Yes, for John. Justin, Caps, Angel, Randall Andrus, Spider-Man McBride. If you didn't see Spider-Man on with Alan Reinhart, it was really great. That's going on this weekend. It's an extra bonus. If you're in the Richmond area on the Alan Reinhart show, we posted the link so you can get tickets, and Spider-Man will get some credit for it. I think this is neat. Like anything that we have and we can do to hype it up more. And we got Top Fuel and Funny Car qualifying, and we've got this match race between Dave Vantine and Spider-Man McBride. Why not? I left you a joke in there and you missed it. Oh my gosh, I missed it. This one, Joe, I'm with you almost every week. I'm just on the plane, headed home. Before you get there, you know what I mean. You're right, Jerron. I did miss it. You know, I'm not the self-deprecating, losing first round on a regular basis humor. I don't like that stuff. I want you to be confident, Jerron. That's been the problem. Too much self-deprecation deep down in the recesses of your brain. It's infecting the rest of you. You gotta get rid of that. You gotta get out. You gotta get aggressive, Jerron. This is becoming a pep talk to Jerron. You got to get aggressive, Jerron. You got to get out there and you got to do your thing. You got to stop with that, oh man, beaten down by first round. Although it has been pretty brutal watching you. It's been pretty brutal watching you take a beating. Hey, maybe Jerron will go on and have a good, nope. Not this week. Maybe next time. Well, we'll see. This could very well be the weekend, Jerron. It could very well be the weekend. All right, guys, WFO. Remember, the WFO mobile app has been updated. You can see the menus better now at the bottom. The videos are coming up better. You can fast forward, you can rewind, but push notifications is where it's at. So I can send out a message. I can send out the YouTube link. I can tell you where the big meetup is going to be. It's like having secret communication for only WFO radio listeners. Who's going to be on? All of that. This guy's laughing. Jerron's laughing. It's all fun until someone loses an eye. And then it's just fun you can't see. Thanks to Steve Johnson for coming on a little bit earlier. Big moment with John Force. Thanks to Justin Ashley. The guy is smooth. He is bringing next level professionalism to drag racing, which is amazing. Doing a great job also on the track. He's very good. There we go. Here's another one. Alexis, Brittany, Erica. Erica's not going to be there. But I think that would be a great winner's circle. It's been too long since we've had Pro Stock. We need Pro Stock back. But we got Mountain Motor Pro Stock. We got Pro Mod. We got Factory Showdown. And if you go to our YouTube channel, later on today, we're going to premiere the latest Factory Stock podcast with Bill Skillman. Bill is going to be on the show. Bill was at Formula One. He was out there with me. He had some perspective on that. But really, we talk about four-wide factory stock. We talk about Mustangs in factory stock. And we talk about Richmond this weekend. But that's only going to be on YouTube. So if you want to see Factory Stock Podcast, subscribe, WFO Radio TV. All right, guys, that's it. That's all I got. Podcasts will be up soon. WFO. Thanks, Justin Ashley. Good luck this weekend. See you there in Richmond, Virginia.